We want to welcome you to the show. It is our goal at Sister Girls to up level, enlighten, and empower God's girls so that they can walk into those positions of leadership in their homes, their businesses, and their communities that God has ordained for them. And we do that here at Sister Girlz Chat Live and also through our Sister Girls event. So, again, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I am joined tonight by my girl Tina. She's back in the
Yes.
house. I missed her. Yay. Welcome back, girl.
Yay. I'm back and I'm alive.
I know you made it, right?
Yes, right in time for a major snowstorm to hit there. They've got well over, I think, what my daughter-in-law just sent me a picture. It's like this deep of snow.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they've got
Oh my
well
gosh.
over about anywhere from 14 to 16 inches now.
Oh my gosh. And where are they now?
Montana.
In Montana. Oh my gosh.
But the
Okay.
whole north, you know, northern
Northern United
states
States.
from Montana to I think Minnesota, they said, just got
Mhm.
started with the snow.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, your timing was impeccable then, huh?
Yes, it was. God knew what he was doing.
Yes, he did. In
Conveniences at
spite
home.
Right, in spite of the inconveniences, and with that
That's right.
segue,
That's right. Because
we will go
tonight,
with tonight's topic. Yes.
yes, is going to be on inconveniences, a blessing from God. Okay.
Okay.
How do you
And
see them? I know how I see them. I've learned my lesson.
oh, absolutely. So I know it's like, we go through life, and as much as and we talk about this all the time, right? Because,
Mhm.
both of us got a little control freak in us.
You think?
Just a little bit of control freak in us. So, of course, we want things to be done the way we want them to be done. We want them to be done when we want them to be done, how we want
Mhm.
them to be done. And, life would just be so much smoother if they were. I mean, because, of course, I know everything, right?
That's right, we do.
Right.
We just can't help ourselves.
We cannot. We cannot. And so the world would, I always say, the world would just go a lot smoother if everybody just jumped in line with me, and
Mhm.
just do things the way I do them. But for some reason, God just hadn't jumped in line yet. And so we want to talk tonight about, the times when God just decides it's just not going to be your way, Deborah, and and
Mhm.
how we see that versus how we should be seeing it. And so I know I have a lot of, little stories that I can tell about that. The Bible tells us a lot about that as well. So, we want to share some of the wisdom and
Yeah.
that we gain and enlighten you guys about the truth of it all. And so maybe you can see a different perspective and not beat your head against the wall like we've done so many times. So
Right.
with that, we're gonna get into tonight's topic. So Tina, you wanna
Sure.
get started
Um,
with this
yes, because with this one, it all came about when we were talking about my trip home from
one?
Montana.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, we've been here. My husband wanted to leave on Friday. I said, let's go Saturday because we don't get out there that often. And we were driving. And
Right.
Friday was a gorgeous day in Montana. It was warm. We didn't have to wear our coats and all this kind of stuff. So he said, okay, we'll go home Saturday morning. So we did. And we got up Saturday morning and it was snowing like crazy.
Wow.
And, here, I mean, everything was already covered. There was at least probably around 2 inches on stuff, but
Oh my gosh.
in the mountains where my son lives, and we have to go, and we're pretty close. We're just miles away from the Wyoming border at the base of high mountains. We're like 50, what does he say? He's 5,200 above sea level, feet above.
Oh.
He's high up there. And we're far enough over west that we've got almost the full state of Montana to drive
Oh,
before
okay.
out of there and get into South Dakota. So we got up and we said, okay, and I'm praying, okay, Lord, just get us through this. And
Right.
funny because we drug our feet a little bit and thought, okay, we're going to go ahead and take off. It's still a little dark outside. We'll take off. Well, as we're driving, we stop at a rest area, right? At a gas station. We fill up. We didn't have to, but we just decided we don't want to get caught anywhere because you
Right.
can go miles out there and
Mhm.
nothing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like, okay, these hills have eyes. If you ever saw the scary movie, you're looking over your shoulder.
I remember that one.
Yeah, and but the thing is, we're having to drive slow because of all of this. And what is in front of us but a truck pulling a trailer? The camper lost its back wheels,
Oh my gosh.
have gone rolling off because the oncoming truck, which was like our truck, a guy and his daughter, we saw them up the side of the mountain with the whole front of the truck. So the tires must have gone towards him and he had to swerve and he totaled his truck. So
Oh my gosh.
here we felt that we were inconvenienced by snow and having to drive slow and having to make these stops. But in reality, God kept us from this which could have been more cars piled up on top of each other, or could have
Absolutely.
been us in the place of that other truck. So
Absolutely.
you think of that. And then we finally get to South Dakota and we're at Sioux Falls and we get in to find a hotel and ding, 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 a red light comes on, says your tire is low. We figured, okay, temperatures have been in the low 20s. So the tire pressure probably went down because
All
of
right.
cold weather and everything. So my husband took the truck, aired up that tire, so that by morning, God forbid there was a leak, we wouldn't be completely flat.
All right.
He filled it up to 40 psi's. That morning he went out to go check and it was down to 23. So
Oh wow.
taking that tire, and we just spent $900 on those tires before we left because it's a big truck. It's an F-150. So and we got
Right.
the better ones that do well in snow. And even that, think about it. We paid out a little bit more, but we got these tires and they handled beautifully in snow. We didn't know we were going to be in the snow.
Wow.
We had no idea because it was when we got there, I was in a sleeveless shirt.
Right.
So it's a Sunday morning, South Dakota. Who's open to fix your tire on a Sunday morning?
Right.
Find one place, and they were the kindest, sweetest people in there that just took care of us. And there was another young man that was heading to Montana from North Carolina. He had the same problem with his car. He had to get his tire fixed. Funny, we sat there and talked and shared a little bit, both of us from the East Coast, just going
Mhm.
opposite directions. And but that held us up there, and come to find out there had been a major accident on the road where we were headed that had that road closed.
Oh my gosh.
So, when you are getting these inconveniences, when these little things pop up and you're going, I just want to get where I'm going. Why is this happening now? And what struck me is because I'm here in Jersey and you could see that, when 9/11 hit, you could see all of that commotion over here. And we were right there. And there's a lot of people from our town that, died in 9/11 that worked over there and that kind of stuff. But I thought of all the stories of all of those people that their children were sick and they had to call out, or they had to go run to the store first before they, went into work. Something happened. They forgot something at home. They were back home. And we think they're inconveniences, but
All right.
God saved their life. He wasn't ready for them yet.
Exactly. Exactly. And I heard
Those
a
are the
lot
things that
of
we
those
have to
stories.
think of.
Right. Exactly. I heard a lot of those stories. I remember hearing one about the guy that um, I think something happened. He had left out, and I think he spilled coffee or something on him, so he had to
Mhm.
go back home and change. And of course, I can imagine what he was saying because I've had that happen to me so many times. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, it's the last thing I needed. I'm rushing. I'm trying to, which is probably why it, spilled in the first place. You're rushing. You're already late, and you're trying to get somewhere at a certain time because again, We have our plans in mind, we have our schedule, we have, the things that we're trying to do, and something happens, and like I said, I've been there so many times, so I know exactly what he said, how he felt. And then to go and find out, within an hour or so later, that all of this had happened. And I mean, it really level sets you a lot, when you
Right.
start seeing God's hand. And you know and it's like, then it goes from, I'm mad at God because you didn't keep this stuff from happening to me, to, oh my gosh, your plans are so much better than mine would ever be. Your way is so much better than mine would ever be. Your timing and everything. And I think if we just kind of, reverse engineer everything, right? Instead of always coming at it from our fleshly perspective, if we just, go forward and remember that God's ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts, his timing is not our timing, and that if we keep that in the forefront of our mind, then instead of having that first reaction, we come from that perspective, then we wouldn't be so upset when these things happen. We learn, and
Hmm.
we learn to say, okay, well, if something's happening, obviously, Lord, is a good reason for it,
Right. Right.
right?
Or and sometimes, I mean, we can also step back and look and say, okay, God, what are you trying to teach me through this?
Mm-hmm.
I know you're teaching me some patience because I lack that. One of my major virtues there. But also when you stop and think about it, you step back too sometimes, and what did we do leading up to this? Were we procrastinating and dragging our feet? And like, prime example, I had a presentation this morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was at 10 o'clock this morning, and I've never done a PowerPoint before. I can talk all day long, as you see that I have no problem talking.
Right.
But I had to make up a PowerPoint on small business and, how to prepare for tax season. And I was going out to the state of New Jersey, you know, and doing this in the for SCORE. And I'm going, okay, some of these are very seasoned business women, and I've got to, do this presentation to these women,
Right.
as well as women that are starting their business, or, and the first person, after it was all done, I stayed up till midnight because I procrastinated.
Because
I was so fearful. And that's just it. And I'm praying last night. Okay, Lord. Okay. Okay. I'm not. I'm going to do this. You know how bad I want to shut down right now. And I want to go in my room and I want to pull the blankets over my head and say, can I just tell them I'm sick?
you're
No,
right.
tomorrow. I don't want to do
No,
this.
sister girls, don't
And,
do that.
but you know what happened
Uh-huh.
is I just Googled, tax presentations, and one popped up. It was a PowerPoint that the SBA teaches from, but all it did is it triggered ideas
Right.
because
Right.
I was overthinking everything, and my PowerPoint slides had a gazillion words per slide instead of just a couple words,
Oh, right there.
couple things.
Right.
And it was like boom, 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 boom. It just started falling into place. So, I inconvenienced myself at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I had waited so long and allowed Satan to make me fearful.
Right.
But, the inconvenience of having to stay up till midnight was my fault.
Right.
I
You're
know,
right.
not his
Yeah.
fault. But he gave me everything
Grace.
I needed. And
Right.
the first person that requested a copy of my slide presentation this morning was a CPA.
Oh, wow.
I thought,
Okay.
wow. And from there, every time I look at my emails, I'm getting more requests. Clients
Right.
coming in, we're looking for a new accountant, we're looking for somebody for this. So, God only knows what
Right. Absolutely. And I remember, as I'm thinking about this, right? So, even looking at the Bible, right? Because I know Mary, I know to get pregnant was an inconvenience.
Mhm.
I mean, she was planning a wedding and she's all excited about starting her new life with her new husband, Joseph. And I'm sure they probably had talked about kids and the timing of when they were going to have them and, stuff like that. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I did. And I was inconvenienced with the most wonderful little baby in the world. He
Right.
was he
Exactly.
a big surprise. I called him my honeymoon baby. So
Yeah, right?
and
Nope.
it was like, I remember his dad and I, we talked about it. I mean, we sat down like, get responsible, people getting married and talked about the time and when we want to have kids. And we said a year and a half, give us a year and a half of marriage before we started having kids. Well, we probably gave it a week and a half.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
those days back then.
right. So we probably gave it a week and a half, and it was like, uh-oh. So he was an inconvenience, but you know what? I'm like, I could not imagine a better child for me. I really cannot. One, he was born 2 days after my birthday, so his birthday and mine are 2 days apart. But we so thoroughly enjoy having conversations, and
Mhm.
we have been close since he came out. I mean, it's always been, we've always spent a lot of time together. We talk a lot, and for him to be 23, almost 24 years old, for us to still talk 3 hours. Like the other day we talked 3 hours. And so it's like, the beauty of that inconvenience, right? It was certainly
Right.
not our plan, but it was the most wonderful thing in the world. And so God just knows. But I remember too, um, my first job that I had out of college, I moved to DC, I was working, and 3 years into it, we lost a contract. We were on a DoD contract and we lost a contract. IBM lost that contract. So that meant 1,200 people lost their jobs. I was one of them. And, of course, you're young, you're just out of college, you're just trying to, at that time, I was trying to pay off student loans as quick as I can. And so that's the last thing that you're wanting, right? That was a big
Mhm.
inconvenience. It's like, I have my plans to pay off student loans. I have my plans to pay off, credit cards that I've been living on in school. And then here was my little plan. I was going to get my little car and save money and all this stuff. And then that happened. But I remember when I look back on that time, that layoff or that job ending spiraled my career in such a way I never would have imagined. I mean, it skyrocketed my career. And so, that was in the early 1990s. 7
Right.
years from then, my career is, I'm in management. I hit that six-figure mark after 7 years, just 7 years of being out of school. And so
Right.
that was huge. None of that would have happened had I stayed
Right.
in that job, right?
Mhm.
Because you're making 3%. If you're doing good, you're making 3% increases each year. So, after 7 years, you may have been making an extra $10,000. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But my career definitely would not have skyrocketed like it did in that shorter period of time had I done it my way. But doing it God's way was so much better.
Right.
So
Right.
much better.
That's just it. And it's funny because, when I was doing my devotional, it was talking about, when we walk with God, so many times things happen and it's such an inconvenience because we're trying to do it our way, is what
Right.
it really boils down to.
Right.
Is that's why those things, a lot more of those things happen to us, is because we're struggling on an earthly level, you know,
Right.
with flesh and blood instead
Right.
in a spiritual level and walking with God. And I do this so many times that I say, God, what am I doing wrong? What more can I do? How can I
Mm-hmm.
right? Why am is and it's like, and when I read that this morning, it's like, Tina, I don't want you to do
Right.
anything. Would you
Right.
just go with me? Walk with
That's it. That's it.
take me by the hand and let me lead you, because
Exactly.
when you say, what can I do, what do I need to do, you're saying, what do you need to do on your own for me to please me? And that isn't anything on your own.
Exactly. Exactly.
Having faith in him and trusting him enough to walk with him. He wants that relationship like this.
Absolutely.
You to go, I'm not, how if like my brothers used to go, I'm not touching you, but they're like this close to you, but I'm not touching
Right.
you, just to drive you nuts. God wants to say, touch me. Right
Right.
hand.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Don't push
That
me away.
right, exactly. 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 And so and so those inconveniences are not there when you are walking with him. And that's huge theme. I know he last year in 2019, his thing was to me, I need you to flow with me. I need you to
Mm-hmm.
flow with me. I need you to be lockstep with me. When I move, I need you to move. When
Right.
I stop, I need you to stop. And it's funny because that was a topic, Sister Girl's topic last week. I did while you were gone, Tina, and it was walking with God, but it was allowing Him to lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Allowing Him to lead because He knows best. And you don't get the inconveniences when you allow Him to lead. Because even case in point, going back to, when my job ended in the early 90s, I remember the Holy Spirit letting me know in advance and Him saying, it's time for you to leave. It's time for you to go. I want you to go back to the South.
Wow.
And I didn't do anything with it. I just said, I acknowledged I heard it. But, and this was a new thing for me, following with God. So I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's you, but still, I don't know what to do with that.
And I'm not sure.
Right. So I did nothing.
Right.
So when it happened, so when the job ended, I knew immediately. I said, that's God. That's Him saying, if you're not gonna flow with me, I'm gonna end this thing and force you to flow with me. So we won't be as inconvenienced if we're just allowing ourselves to be led by Him. But that's the stance, that's the position that He wants us in. As just like a surfer, right? A surfer
Yep.
doesn't get a surfboard and just go out into some stagnant water and think he's gonna ride a wave, right? He has to catch the
Exactly.
wave. He has to wait for the wave, and then at the right point in the wave, he takes off on his
Surfboard.
surfboard,
Yep.
right? And he allows the wave to do the work,
To carry
right?
him.
To
Yes. Yep.
carry him,
Exactly.
right? Exactly.
Yep.
And so, and so it's so effortless when you just under the power of the wave, right? And you
Right.
just flow with the wave and it takes you where it takes you. But trying to flow against the wave, trying to,
Mhm.
swim against the current or even, surf against the current, you're never getting anywhere.
No. I know, it's like,
Never.
and that was something that I was working with, with my business, is I was saying how, I love to help people lay this foundation so that when a wave of chaos, when a wave of uncertain times, uncertainty comes your way, like the COVID and everything,
Right,
that instead of being washed out to sea and devastated, you actually are picked up and you get to ride that wave
right.
until it sets you back down on solid ground. And
Absolutely.
so much that's what Jesus wants to do for us. Is
Mm-hmm.
he wants to be able to pick us up if we would just let him.
Right.
He wants to be able to pick us up so that we can ride that wave, to walk on that water and be set back down with our feet on solid rock. But
Exactly.
we look down like Peter did,
Mm-hmm.
we start to sink because we start to fret and we start to think that, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And he's gone, I was right here. You were doing great.
Right.
Your faith. You know?
Right.
So, and I'm learning. I mean, I've been a Christian my entire life. I was born, my father what became a minister when I was only 4 years old. So I had it instilled in me, he became a Christian when I was two. And then, so I was raised with it. I did not live a Christian life for many, many years. you know, I guess that I just, God had a plan for me. That's all I
Right.
can say.
That was his
And
plan.
and that was, and he knew how long it was going to take, and it was my choice.
Right.
See, that's what we don't think of a lot of times too is, God, how can you let this happen? Well, step back, go back through your steps and see how many choices you made that
Hmm.
were not right, that you chose to hang with this one or to do what they wanted to do or to worry about what the others were thinking about you. Think of those things. But what I do recognize out of all of the years of heartache and what we would call, you know, inconvenience after, hand over fist, that nothing is ever going to work out. And I just had that conversation with my son today is, you know, he's never left me.
Right.
And if I would have sought him sooner than later, I wouldn't have been taken through so much more. But apparently, there is still something, my full purpose has not been completely revealed to me,
Right.
but I am still preparing for, and I feel that I'm getting much, closer to
Right. Hmm.
God is lifting me up and putting me in that place. But that's just it. All those little inconveniences are really his
Oh
blessings
my gosh. Yes.
on the other side of it. Because think
Yes.
about it. What does he say? He knew you before you were ever
When.
conceived. He had a purpose. He created you for a purpose.
Right. And
So
a plan.
yes. So he's got that plan. But even Jesus, what did Jesus say too? Jesus said he doesn't do anything unless his father tells him, and his
Hmm.
father has already done it, has done it before him.
Right.
So we don't do anything in and of ourselves. If we would listen, focus on that relationship, listen, then maybe when something that inconveniences us is placed before us, we can look at it and say, "Oh, I can't wait to see what's on the other side of this one."
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's what we got to think of, and that's also
Right.
with preparing our mind the way that God would have us. So there's so much that can go into it. The power of a positive mind, you know?
Absolutely. And the overarching thing should always be, as we're, walking this Christian walk, is remembering that God is a loving God. I mean, yes,
Mhm.
he can get mad and he can get angry, and his wrath is real, but his position most of the time with us is just a loving father. And
Right.
so
He's
even
so
in inconveniences, we need to always remember that he's all about love for us, right? He's not
mhm.
trying to make life difficult for us. He's not trying to make it hard. He's not trying to cause us undue pain or anything like that. He is always coming from a position of love. Even when he chastises us, even if
Yes.
sometimes we get punished or whatever, he's still coming from a position of love, because when he does that, it's because he wants us to line back up. He wants us to get
Right.
back in line with him. He wants us to walk with him, because there's safety and there's provision and there's goodness with him. When we get outside of the boundaries, it's like we're getting in the danger zone. And so
Right.
he's not trying to just make life difficult for us or take the joy out of it. It's no, I'm trying to get you within these boundaries where there is safety, and there's a lot of liberty, and there's a lot of leeway. There's a lot of room for us to have a good life and to do things that we want to do, even within the realm of his boundaries of
Mhm.
safety, so that we don't have to feel like, oh, God don't want me to do anything, don't want me to have any fun. No, there's a lot of fun in between here. There's a
That's
lot of
right.
things that you can do in
That's right.
between
And
here.
it's what do you think fun is supposed to be? Oh my goodness, it's 8:30 already. What?
Right, right. That's a whole nother discussion.
That's right.
All right. So good talk tonight. Welcome back. I'm so glad
Yes,
you're
I
back.
am so happy to be back. Yes.
Yes. All
Yes.
right. So we are so excited that you guys were with us tonight on Sister Girls Chat. We will be back next week. So please join us on the broadcast next week. It's sure to be fun. Hopefully we will have a guest on next week. But we'll see. We'll see. We're flowing. with God. We'll
That's
see what
right.
the topic is going to be next week, but it's going to be fun. So come back and we will